When my husband passed away, the house felt unbearably quiet. Every room held a memory. His jacket by the door. His favorite chair in the living room. For weeks, I barely touched anything. But my husband's family had different ideas. They said the house needed to be organized. They said I shouldn't keep things that would make me sad. At first, it sounded like concern. Like support. Until one afternoon, I came home and noticed something strange. His watch was gone. At first, I thought I had misplaced it. Grief does strange things to memory. But the next day, something else disappeared. His camera. The one he saved months to buy. Then his leather briefcase. Then his golf clubs. Little by little, the things that made the house feel like him started vanishing. When I asked his sister about it, she smiled. "We're just helping you move on." Helping. That word didn't feel right. A week later, I walked into the garage. Half the shelves were empty. Boxes that once held his tools were gone. Even the old bicycle he loved to repair on weekends had disappeared. This time, I didn't stay quiet. I called his brother immediately. "Where are his things?" He sighed like I was being unreasonable. Some of the family took items to remember him. Remember him. But they hadn't asked me. They had simply taken them. Then the worst moment came. I opened our bedroom closet. His suits were missing. Every single one. The hangers were empty. Like someone had erased him from the house. That night, I finally confronted the whole family. "We were just dividing his belongings," his mother said. Dividing. Like it was an estate sale. But my husband had never said anything about that. And suddenly, something didn't feel right. A few days later, I received a phone call. From a lawyer. At first, I assumed it was about paperwork. Condolences. Formalities. But the lawyer asked a strange question. "Have any of your husband's belongings been removed from the house?" I hesitated. "Yes." Then he said something that changed everything. "Did you give permission?" No. I hadn't. The lawyer asked me to make a list. Everything that had disappeared. At first, I thought it would be impossible. But once I started writing, the list grew longer and longer. The watch. The camera. The briefcase. The tools. The suits. The golf clubs. By the end of the night, there were more than 30 items. And that's when the lawyer said something surprising. "Good. That matches our inventory." Inventory? The next morning, the lawyer came to the house. He brought a folder. Inside were documents. Detailed ones. My husband, it turned out, had prepared a full list of his belongings. Photos. Receipts. Even descriptions. He had done it months earlier, while updating his will. And the most important part, every item on that list had already been assigned to someone, including me. But there was something else in the documents. A clause. A very specific clause. If anyone removed property from the house, without the executor's permission, they would be legally required to return it, or compensate its full value. The executor. That was the lawyer, not the family. Which meant something important. They had taken everything. Without legal authority. The lawyer didn't sound angry, just calm. Professional. But his next step was immediate. He contacted every family member, individually, and asked a simple question. "Do you currently possess any property listed in this estate inventory?" At first, some of them denied it. But the lawyer had something powerful. Photos. Documentation. Proof. And slowly, the answers started changing. A week later, the lawyer returned with another document. A new list. But this time, it wasn't an inventory. It was a recovery list. Item by item, it showed where every object had gone. The watch. His sister. The camera. His cousin. The tools. His brother. Even the golf clubs had already been listed for sale online. The lawyer placed the list on the table and said calmly, "We'll be requesting everything back." Some relatives returned the items quickly. Others tried to argue. One even claimed it was a misunderstanding. But the lawyer reminded them of the clause. Return the items. Or pay their full value. Suddenly, the people who called it helping were very quiet. Because now, helping looked a lot like theft. Over the next 2 weeks, boxes started arriving. The watch came back first. Then the camera. Then the tools. Even the bicycle was returned. Some items had scratches. Some looked used. But they were back. One by one, the house slowly filled again. With the pieces of my husband's life. Not everything returned. A few items had already been sold. But that didn't end the situation. Because the lawyer had receipts, values, proof of ownership. And when the payments started arriving, the message became clear. They hadn't been dividing memories. They had been taking advantage. The final meeting happened a month later. The lawyer reviewed the entire list. Every item. Every return. Every payment. Then he closed the folder. The estate is now settled, he said. And for the first time since everything happened, the house felt peaceful again. Later that evening, I sat in the living room. His watch was back on the table. His camera on the shelf. His jacket by the door. The house still felt quiet. But not empty anymore. Because the things they tried to take weren't just objects. They were memories. And thanks to one careful document, those memories found their way home. Justice.